Hello and welcome to the conversation on News Central TV. And on this program, we get to discuss political trends around the African continent. I am Rita Omodia. Now, today on the conversation, we'll be looking at the security situation in Nigeria and the alleged corruption that has made the Chief Justice of the West African country to resign. Now, we have lots of stories trending in Nigeria as of today. And right now, we begin with security situations as authorities in Nigeria's northwestern Zamfara state have called on locals to arm themselves against criminal gangs in an attempt to deal with the increasing numbers of kidnappings and violent attacks. The Zamfara state governor, Bello Matawali, said he would issue hundreds of guns to those without training and directed the commissioner of police to issue licenses. The authorities in Zamfara state say locals will first need to register before getting a weapon. In other measures, the governor also ordered the closure of markets in 3 districts known as Mada, Wonaka and Ruwan district of Gusau local government, as well as Yandoto emirate in Tsafe local government, banned the use of motorcycles and sales of petroleum products, while a shoot-to-kill order has been given to anyone found using a motorcycle in these areas. A state of more than 5 million people, Zamfara follows Katsina in resorting to a policy of increasing private gun ownership as a response to insecurity due to banditry in the country. Now, join us live on the conversation. We have Bala Abdullahi, a security expert. He joins us from Katsina, Nigeria. We also have Ambassador Roy Ohidia there. He is the National Secretary, Retired Members of Nigeria Armed Forces, Lagos, Nigeria. Also, we have a Samson Adegboyega Newton, a legal practitioner from Lagos, Nigeria. Gentlemen, welcome to the conversation.
Yeah, thank you
very much for an opportunity.
Thank you so much. So I'll start with Abdullahi right now. In an era where there is a call for mop-up of arms, do you believe that this recent directive will solve the alarming increase of bandits' attack or cause more problems?
It is a long overdue in the sense that it's a right move in the wrong direction. This was because the state should form part of the regulating body of arms proliferation. And if you look at 1993, 94, 95, ECOWAS ban of arms proliferation in Dakar, you tend to understand that both articles were of the view that the state should be at the forefront of regulating the influx of arms and ammunition, both small and light ammunition. But one good thing that is going to happen in Zamfara is that already this marching order has been taken over by the locals themselves before even the governor's statement. This was viewed to curtailing the menace of the banditry in the states. And we are thinking that if a state of such should be happen, certainly we are reaching a certain level of state of chaos and anarchy, the extent that the governor himself confessed that he cannot control. He cannot do this.
Okay, Bala, I would like to stop you there. I like the point that you just brought out now. You said a state of chaos from this directive, and you also mentioned a right move in a wrong direction. Now, Ambassador Roy, when authorities begin to call on locals to arm themselves against criminal gangs, does it actually signify a state failure?
Thank you for the opportunity, and all my studio guests, I respect you. One thing I need to say is that definitely we have a frustrated declaration right now before us. It's a declaration out of frustration, and it's going to take a lot of government effort to be able to control the proliferation of arms in that axis. I think that what the governor should have done is to actually discuss with some private security practitioners to marry the relationship of the local vigilante with the government security agency and to understand the root causes of the mayhem. If you create resilience in the community and try to put together information and intelligence, not all of what he said is wrong anyway, because he mentioned the provision of the command and control center. You know, that is key. And he imputed some retired officers to work with the government security agencies. That is also fine. But that aspect of people arming themselves, it will actually cause a lot of chaos. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ambassador Roy. I'd like to bring in Samson Newton now. Now, Ambassador Roy said that this declaration is out of frustration. While we try to get Samson back online with us, let's go back to you now, Bala Abdullahi. Now, according to the State's Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Dosara, the governor had notified the State Police Commissioner, Ayuba Elkana, of the development, but reports suggest the CP denied last night that he received any information from the governor. Sorry, I'll direct this once again to Ambassador Roy. What legitimacy does the government have on this order? Because right now we're seeing the administration saying they notified the police, and the police is saying they were not notified about this order.
Well, actually, before you can issue licenses to people, it's beyond the office of the CP. You know, the IG must be involved, and it must come from the legislation. You know, the instruction to stop issuing of license was a government legislation. So if we have to go back to issuing of licenses, it's beyond what the CP could discuss with the governor. You know, it must come from the IG, and the IG must work with the Senate and the House of Reps, the judiciary, to actually look at how to reframe the issuance of licenses, you know. So I think that the police, he used the police CP's office to jumpstart some credibility on the instruction. Like I said, I want to insist again that the declaration had some quality content in it if we just expunge that of the CP and the issuing of licenses.
All right, now, Bala, over to you. You're also a security expert. And in 2019, the president issued an executive order revoking all licenses for private gun ownership in Nigeria. Now, is this order still in effect? And does this directive not clash with the president's executive order?
You see, in Nigeria, it's not everything that works in Nigeria. We are in a country where if you have an order, executive order today, certainly some days to come, it becomes ineffective. This was because of the laxity from the executive arm of government to make sure that the sincerity of purpose is there to address the collective decision benefits to be derived by the local community, by the Nigerian populace. But yeah, it's still in order because up to now we didn't hear anything from the government cancelling or countering the other previous order given. But one thing that we should understand that the governor, the police commissioner is not under the control of a governor in a state. Rather, he receives command from the IG. So the implication of this is that the police commissioner may decide not to take order from the governor, not to even follow the order given by the governor. And this also has some issues that this brings in issue of lack of synergy in between the various arms fighting the insurgency in the state. Whereas wherever you see successes in the fight against banditry or insurgency or whatsoever you may call it, is the coming together of collective responsibility of all the stakeholders. We call that CC, Central Command and Communication. If they can be able to man the affairs of all and sundry, that order can also be effective to some certain level. the governor has right to call the president, has right to also call the IG, so that the order could be as effective as it is expected. But one thing that is clear here is that we are given order to where control will not be managed, to where control will not be manned, to where control may likely in the unforeseeable future to get out of control, which is a very serious implication to the security apparatus in the country.
Now, do you feel, Bala, I'll stay with you, do you feel that the government, the state government, is dodging from its responsibilities and then pushing it on the part of the citizens when he says that they should arm themselves?
It's not dodging. What he is trying to tell you, he can't control it. He can't do it. He is not in control of the army. He neither is in control of the police. All the security apparatus in the state, they were never before and they are never under the control of governor. So for someone to come out to say this, certainly is telling the state that he has failed in the discharge of the responsibility, because the expectation, one of the cardinal principles of the government and the populace and the governed is the protection of lives and property. So long as states fail to protect lives and property, meaning that there is an incapacitation of the governor to man the affairs of the states.
Now, while we're looking at this issue, you talk about incapacity of the government. Ambassador Roy, a 2016 United Nations UN report revealed that 70% of the estimated 500 million illegal weapons circulating in West Africa are domiciled in Nigeria. Now, with this estimate, there are major fears that guns bought legitimately from state talks can be diverted to the black market for dangerous use. Now, if you use situations like the United States, where we see a bit of not gun control, but we see how gun has been mismanaged in the United States, how do you think this can be better controlled?
Well, if you look at the situation in Nigeria, the estimate that the United Nations is giving is even below. Because you recall that the Justice Ministry and the Police Service Commission, they are trying to account for a large number of arms that were already missing. You know, missing in action, missing from the armory, missing in transit. So there are a lot of weapons around, you know. But one thing that we need to understand is when a criminal or bandit or whatever name we call them is arrested, when those that deal on arms are arrested, illegal weapons are arrested, what is the triangle of investigation? What is the trajectory to arrest all other persons that are connected to that person? You check his account, you will see some payments made, you check his phone, you know, all around him there are information. We don't put our eyes on diligence and intelligence and investigation. We don't follow through to arrest every other person that is in the web of operation of illegality. So that has given room for all of that. Then another thing that you should know is that so many of our agencies today cannot fully accredit the integrity of their personnel. We have seen where soldiers are escorting weapons. We have seen where policemen are selling weapons. You know, and this is the degeneration of trust. Motivation has been lost. Integrity has been lost in our agency. So there is a lot to achieve if we begin to look at how to build coherence in our agency, collaboration in our agencies, and renew the drive of motivation for people to be patriotic to the country that gave them the uniform and the arms that they carry. Then investigations will go through and we'll begin to see proper follow-up on all the arms that are in wrong hands.
When we look at investigations, Bala, the Zamfara government also ordered the recruitment of 200 additional community protection guards in each of the 19 emirates of the state. Do you think this will suffice, and was this actually necessary?
One of the problems that fueled the Zamfara crisis was way back 20, 25, 30 years back. when this group of people we call vigilante were out to kill whosoever they see on site, shoot aside and whatsoever. And this also led to the, this also angered the Fulani herders to also take revenge. And this vengeance as a result of what had happened before. And I don't even support the recruitment of these community volunteers, because one thing that is going to happen, if they are not well screened, believe you me, it will be more harm than good. And let me also reiterate this. You see, before the local government reforms in 1976, farmers and the herders have been living peacefully. There was nothing called problem, there was nothing called misunderstanding, conflict, or a crisis. But as a result of this encroachment of the farmers' lands, dashing out, selling out lands, stock routes, and whatsoever owned by the Fulanis, even though they were not owned, but it was demarcated before colonial masters came, after colonial masters came, and after 1960, there were colonial stock routes. And this colonial stock route, believe you me, have been taken over. More than 2/3 of this colonial stock route have been taken over. And there was also issue of global warming, expansion in population, to the extent that the community now had no alternative than to expand, to look for where they will settle and for their means of livelihood. And comes the issue of this concrete entrepreneurs, this issue of interest of the international community, this issue of miscellaneous. And it is also important at this juncture to also identify and know the classification of these Fulanis. We have the Fulbe Nai, we have the Fulbe Seri, and we have the Fulbe Dororo. And the Fulbe Nai are the Fulanis of the town, domestic Fulanis. The Fulbe Sai were also the bush Fulanis, and the Fulbe Bororo were the most stubborn Fulanis, and most of them, they were not an indigenous Fulanis. They were from the Chad, Cameroon, Senegal, and the rest of some of the African countries. They were the most trouble, and they were the people that are causing this mayhem. So it is important, if the authority now can have the accurate information, surveillance, intelligence gathering as to who and who, where and where are these bandits or are these Boko Haram taking sites, at what level and at what magnitude, what is the time, what is the topography, and what is the geography there that is giving them cover to cause more mayhem in the community assigned in Zamfara. And not only in Zamfara, but in the northwestern part. Believe you me, it's not the issue of banditry, but it's just the name that we have given to them. But this is the combination of Boko Haram. Whether you call it ISWAF, whether you call it Boko Haram, whether you call it bandit, is Boko Haram. And the earlier the government understand and realize, convinced that this is the Boko Haram, the better for them to take measures that will tackle the issue. But issue of this state police, issue of this vigilante cannot solve the whole issue. We have issue of security personnel shortage in the personnel of the country. Let there be massive recruitment, committed individuals that are very patriotic, to see to it that the government can also deploy any part of the security personnel to address this issue of insecurity. For example,
Bala, sorry, I'll have to stop you there because I want to bring in Samson now on this particular issue of security, because one of the orders that the government also gave was a shoot to kill order given to anyone found using a motorcycle in these areas after a ban was placed on specific areas. Now, I'm coming to you now as a legal practitioner, Samson. Do you feel that this will actually infringe on the human rights of the citizens and even those who actually would violate the laws of driving these motorcycles after they have been banned?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. And I apologize for the transmission issues. The first thing I'd like to say. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Samson. Please go on.
Yes, so it's going to be a very gross violation of human rights if the security operatives would actually agree to the shoot at sight order or law by the governor, because it violates the principle of natural justice, equity, and good conscience. Now, the principle of natural justice says that everybody is innocent until proven guilty. Because you're riding a bicycle or a bike or a motorbike does not necessarily mean that you're a criminal, even though there's the law. The law does not prohibit. The law prohibits the riding of motorbikes, but riding a motorbike is not a criminal offense by any known law. So it's an order that would be dead on arrival, because anybody that goes to court against that order will be sure to win, because it's a violation of the very fundamental section of the law, which is Section 33, that gives the right to life to every individual that are citizens of the country. So basically, if the governor would actually, I know that the attempt is to curb, and it is born out of frustration, but it does not mean that because we are frustrated we should violate fundamental human rights. So
Okay.
the law would not stand. Hello?
All right, Samson, you're saying that this is against, or rather a violation of human rights. Now, still talking about the laws, the president issued an executive order revoking all licenses for private gun ownership in Nigeria. And now we have the governor
Yes.
of Zamfara state now talking about gun licenses for individuals and, of course, getting their licenses from the police. Do you feel that these laws contradict each other?
Oh, definitely it does. And the state government does not have the power or the jurisdiction to make laws when it concerns guns and ammunition. It is strictly on the exclusive list, which means that it is only the federal government that can make provisions and pronouncements on guns and ammunition, and not the state government. So there's a contradiction in these directives, and the law states that where there's a contradiction between federal and state laws, the federal law will supersede and not the state law. So, like I said earlier, the Zafara pronouncement is one that would not see the light of the day, because it violates every known law that is known to Nigeria as a whole.
All right, now, Ambassador Roy, earlier on, Bale was talking about intelligence gathering in the north, and one of the major solutions to Nigeria's security issues, people have been clamoring for better intelligence gathering. Now, because it's said to be a key part for any proper security investigation, how would you rate the use and progress of its use in rural areas where these attacks are rampant? Do you feel security agencies in Nigeria are making good use of intelligence gathering, or even making use of it at all?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me first go back slightly to the recruitment of grand troops that the governor talked about. You know, I mentioned that some of the postulates of the governor are in line with what should be done right now, but out of frustration of what is going on, that was when he overshot those two areas of gun license and shoot at sight. Now, if you look at that recruitment that I was talking about, also in intelligence gathering too, you know, do you know the number of retired military men in Zamfara? Do you know the number of retired policemen, DSS, other agencies that are combat tested? They are in Zamfara. Some of them are in neighboring states. They are familiar with the terrain. They are familiar with the languages spoken there. They are familiar with the environment. They can blend in. Now, this is what we are saying all the time. We have asked Government Forum to give us audience. There are private security companies in Zamfara State, and private security companies have an association of licensed private security practitioners, which I am the current national PRO. We have been asking too that they should approve for private security companies to carry arms. Now, looking at the recruitment, for that recruitment we are talking about, why not target people that are combat tested? Why not target to employ those that are still able-bodied, young and healthy, to be able to join the team to help the agency? Because this team are going to collaborate with the agencies. The agencies will do orientation for them, both the military, the police, the DSS, at the forefront lines, They will do orientation for them. Then, we have universities in the north that people went through for security and intelligence studies. People went through 5 years for criminology. Why not gather that database, bring them back, and give them a good pay? I have some staff working in so many places. Some people are taking like 50,000 naira. A full graduate in Nigeria, why not up the remuneration? Why not up the remuneration to like 150K?
Okay, aside, Ambassador Roy, aside remuneration and of course the private individuals and of course security individuals who have retired, what about the intelligence gathering? How would you rate it?
For intelligence gathering, look, we have intelligence. I will assure you, Nigeria is one of the most intelligent country and breed in the world. We have intelligence. The challenge we have is the will of government. As I speak to you, I have colleagues that are in combat. We know where the Boko Haram are. We know where the bandits they are. We know. But the problem is the will. Who will take action and you will not be backed up by government instructions? Who will take action? All the policemen that you see that die every day from attacks, the military people that die every day, they are restricted to the instruction that comes from their hierarchy. So if they don't have hierarchy instruction, they can't react. See, let me tell you something. In all these states that we are, DSS can put a barbing saloon somewhere. DSS, military intelligence, we have military intelligence, DMI, Directorate of Military Intelligence. Air Force has their own intelligence team. Navy has. They can mix up with the community, I tell you. They can open a parada shop. An Air Force or military girl can be selling parada there. And there are listening devices. She can be doubling. They can be doing videos there. So many things we can do to gather intelligence. But when you gather the intelligence, one is a mole will expose you and you will be shocked. The second thing is all the intelligence you gather at the risk of your life and your colleagues will be acted upon.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador Roy. I think you've hammered on the particular points there, the willpower of the government. Thank you, Ambassador Roy. I would like to bring in Samson now because this state is not the only state in the north that has actually talked about gun licensing. We also have Katsina last year talking about it. Now, what ways can governments control monopoly of violence? Samson, can you hear me?
Something that's a little bit difficult to do because of the exposure of the nation, especially the northern borders, to the external forces like that of Libya, the gun proliferation from Libya and the rest. It's our borders are too exposed. So basically, there's no way that you can control or monopolize violence. The state actors, the control of ammunition and arms are at equal par with the government. So there's the state of, like Mr. Bala rightly said, there's the state of anarchy and the state of chaos, and Nigeria is gradually fulfilling all the marks of a failed state because state actors are at equal par with the state government. So the question is, how do they control it? That we need to start having very concentrated efforts on our borders. Everything that comes in or goes out must be known. Definitely. We cannot continue to have a border that is like as open as Banditry Expressway. You just walk through and walk out. Nobody's checking, nobody's doing anything. So many dangerous substances are coming into the country, and it's as if we are just allowing things happen like that. So for us to control or monopolize violence, the government has to first control its borders because that is where everything is coming in from.
All right. Thank you so much, Samson. You're talking about the control of borders. Ambassador Roy talked about the willpower of the government. Balos talked about investigations to this criminal activities going on in the north. Thank you so much, Bala Mohammed, for joining us on the conversation. Also, Ambassador Roy Ohidia there and Samson Newton, thank you for joining us on this conversation. We cannot continue to talk about the security situations in Nigeria because this is a very important situation in any country. Thank you.
welcome.
And right now we'll go for a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue with discussions in Nigeria as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Mohammed, has resigned and the new justice has been inaugurated, sworn in as acting capacity in the person of Olukayode Ariwola. We'll have that after this break. Stay tuned.